Alrighty, so it says, we know from past experience that the product of two positive numbers is always positive. You guys have been doing that since second grade. But now we need to figure out the product of a negative and a positive number, okay? Or two negative numbers. So we can figure this out by following the steps below. We did not do the warm-up, but in the warm-up, you determined that 2 plus 2 plus 2 is the same as 3 times 2, right? Because multiplication is just repeated addition. Let's explore this further by filling in the table. What if I had 3 groups of negative 2? What's the repeated addition going to be for that number sentence, Dennis? We're subtracting when we multiply? Very good. Negative 2 plus negative 2 plus negative 2. Well, what do we do when we add with the same sign? We keep the sign and we add their absolute values, right? So what's 2 plus 2 plus 2?
Negative 6.
6, and then we keep the sign so it's negative. So we can turn that into our multiplication number sentence by saying 3 times negative 2 equals negative 6. So that's a positive times a negative equals a negative. Let's see if that continues. 4 times 3. What's another way of saying that in words? 4 groups of 3. What's the repeated addition? 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So what is that answer? 12. So again, our multiplication sentence can be it starts off with 4, my bad. 4 times 3 equals 12. Let's try the next example. What are the word versions of the next section? Jesse? 4 groups of negative 3. The repeated addition would be negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3 plus negative 3. And what's the result? What do we get as that answer? Negative 12. So that number sentence can be 4 times negative 3 equals negative 12. All right, 5 groups of 4, and then the repeated addition is?
4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4.
5 times, right? And what's the result? 20. So our number sentence can be 5 times 4 equals 20. What about 5 times negative 4, Ava?
5 groups of negative 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 4 plus negative 4.
Yes, adding negative 4 together 5 times. And what's the result when we do that? Negative 20. So our number sentence can be 5 times negative 4 is equal to negative 20. So let's go ahead down below and fill in the blank. It says, based on the result in our table, we have shown that 3 times negative 2 equals negative 6. 4 times negative 3 equals negative 12. And 5 times negative 4 equals negative 20. We are now ready to make a conjecture about the product of a positive and negative number. What's a conjecture?
Like an estimate?
Not an estimate. Not a conjunction. What's a conjecture?
Like a
A rule. Conjecture is a math rule. Okay? So the rule that we can make is the product of a positive and a negative number is always negative. Make sure you've got that all filled in. Then we're going to do some practice problems on the back. So we're not going to do this entire side because a lot of it is just practice. Shh, we're quiet. So, using the commutative property of multiplication, What is the commutative property? What does it tell us? Gabriel?
It tells us that, for example, 4 times 5 is equal to 5 times 4, and it doesn't matter which order.
It does not matter which order the numbers come in, the products or the factors come in for multiplication. So 5 times 4 is the same as 4 times 5, right? So it tells us that we can change the order of the numbers when we multiply, and we can still keep that same product. So they gave us the example of 2 times 3 equals 3 times 2. So we are just going to do this very first example. If 3 times negative 2 equals what?
Negative 6.
Then negative 2 times 3 equals? Negative 6. So now we can make a conjecture about the product of a negative and a positive number instead of positive factor coming first. The product of a negative and positive number is always, oh my gosh, negative. Okay? Now we're going to use opposites or negative times a negative to finish our rule. So we've only addressed the product, or now we need to address the product of 2 negative numbers. Remember, we already know that 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6. What happens if we put a negative sign in front of each of these products? For example, if we change 2 times negative 3 to negative 2 times negative 3, the result should change signs also. So if 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6, then negative 2 times negative 3 equals what, Madeline?
6.
Positive 6. So negative 3 times negative 4 equals 12. And negative 4 times negative 5 equals 20. Not negative 20. Double negatives, right?
Negative times negative.
Very good. So now we can make our conjecture about the product of 2 negative numbers. The product of 2 negative numbers is always positive. So now we can use what we know to determine the rules for the multiplication of integers. Y'all ready? If the signs are the same, in harmony they live, everyone is happy, and the product is positive. If the signs are different, they don't act like adults. They fight with each other with negative results. If the signs are the same, the product will be positive. Doesn't matter if the signs are both positive or both negative, the product will be positive. And if the signs are different, your product will be negative. Very good.